Starting in Warframe can be very confusing, which can lead to many beginners making mistakes that they will soon realize. In order to help you all going forward, I made a list of 10 mistakes that most beginners make and which can mess up the game for you in some way. Now obviously, there is much more I can put in this list, however this list is made up of some of the earliest mistakes beginners make, so hopefully you're watching this video at the right time. To get started with the list, a big thing beginners do that comes to bite them in the ass is wasting their platinum on frames and weapons in Warframe. Now I know some frames are difficult to come by, like Gauss or Harrow, however spending 225 to 350 platinum on a regular frame is extreme. Spending a lot of platinum on weapons is extreme as well. Everything in Warframe is farmable, meaning you can get the weapon by doing specific things in the game. Now yes, obviously this takes time, but this will save your platinum for better things later on. And a quick fact, the weapons you are able to get early on do not work well with higher level enemies. So don't fall for this and don't fall for Darvo's deal. This is not a good deal, and again, you can get it for free. Most of the weapons that are great unlock at around mastery rank 12 to 16. Take the Kuva weapons as an example. This unlocks at rank 16, and it's pretty easy to get, just takes time and a good class for you to be able to complete a Lich. And all Warframes only require master rank 3. So once you get relics or join the clan, you can get a prime frame or farm for a prime frame and unlock it easier than the regular one that costs a lot of platinum. With farming prime parts, many beginners try to sell things that they will never be able to sell. I have seen people try to sell a specific part to a frame or weapon. This will never work. People who are looking to buy will say what part they need, and the chance that you have that item at such a low level is pretty rare. You can always look for these people who need one part, click on that part, and see if you have it. If you want to sell and earn platinum, here's the basic stuff you should farm when you get the chance to. Arcanes, ribbons, mods, or complete sets of frames and weapons that you can list in the trade chat. Arcanes are in abundance, meaning there are many different ways to farm arcanes right now. So if you stick to farming a few arcanes, you can rank those up and sell them. But I have a video on farming platinum, and we'll probably make another one on farming platinum or just on arcanes in the future. So farm for these items I mentioned: arcanes, ribbons, mods, and complete sets when you are able to. Remember, you need a relic in order to do a relic mission. I can't tell you how many times I see a beginner get lost in the map, we have to wait for them, and it turns out they didn't even have a relic or equip one. It seems like many beginners in Warframe like to rush things. They believe that they are able to do a higher level than they are capable of doing. Now, just because you can get to this mission doesn't mean you should do it. If you don't know how to do an Eidolon hunt, don't do them yet. Please. If you cannot survive in missions, meaning you die a lot or get downed a lot, don't do that mission. It's okay to have to wait. That's a big part of this game. Get as many good mods as you can, do nightmare missions, do vault runs, etc. Whatever you can do with what you have. You may want to master rank up some more. A good example that I was able to record was a master rank 10 going into the new elevator mode for Jade. This is of course part of the new Jade update. He kept dying over and over again. I also found out later that he had a dragon key on him. And if you don't know what that is, it's a key for the vault doors, and all of them give you some type of debuff. He also had weapons that you can buy with credits, meaning it's one of the worst ones because it's meant for a beginner to get almost right away. So please, don't rush things. Get great mods, frames, and weapons, and do missions when they are easier for you. With beginners wanting to rush things or thinking they can handle higher stuff than they can, comes beginners falling for traps. We've already discussed spending platinum in the market for stuff you can farm for, most of the time it being pretty easy to farm. However, many people fall for traps outside of the game relating to platinum. Now we've all been there. We want our platinum, we want it for free, and we want it now. With that being said, there's no generator for platinum. There's no insane trick in farming platinum. Creators buy platinum mostly. In order to make thousands in a day, you will need to have a ton of rare items. These items eventually run thin. If it's farmable, then all they do is farm that and sell it, leaving almost no time for anything else. Now I know this may seem like I'm hating on these people, which I'm not, and I will also say, I don't care. I don't care what they do, I don't care how they get their platinum. It's just not good for those people who are wanting to get it and then get duped. Now when talking about this, one guy comes to mind by the name of Neo Ness, a popular creator in Warframe community who has a Patreon for farming platinum, which is $5 a month. Here's his TikTok on it, which has the comments turned off because he was getting called out.
How much platinum have you made since you've become a Patreon?
Over 100K.
45K.
I would say 60, 70,000.
20,000.
What's the most amount of platinum you've made in a week?
12K.
Probably about 5,000.
5,400.
In a week, probably 8K.
What's the most amount of platinum you've made in a day?
5,400.
Day was probably 4K.
Probably about 3,000.
2K.
What's your favorite method of making platinum that you've learned from me?
Mostly just flipping ribbons and selling Warframes.
Probably arbitrations.
Selling sets of Warframes.
I enjoy Zeramon the most.
Imagine how much time and money they've saved. You know where the links are.
This happens on his YouTube comments as well. Now I know Warframe people are very hard on creators, but it seems like everyone agrees he's full of it. It just gets him paid. So please, don't fall for these traps. There's no secret, just better ways to farm for the stuff people will buy, which will take some time. I've played the game for a while. May not look like it, but I have. I had a console and I played Warframe on there a lot. I've been around the game for a long time. I didn't always play it consistently, but I joined fairly early on, so I understand this stuff. Creators don't make all their platinum from trading. Sure, maybe someone has saved a bunch of platinum, but these creators have every skin, every cosmetic, everything, and it cannot be from trading only. Now I could talk more about this, but to be clear, I'm not calling these Warframe creators liars or scam artists or whatever. They have good videos out there. They have the subscribers, they have the views because they're good at what they do. However, when it comes to platinum, a lot of them don't tell you the truth, which is ribbons. Really good ribbons is what sells. You can sell other things as well, but when you see these guys have 12,000, 15, whatever, thousands of platinum, it's not from just the sets and everything they're telling you. It's from ribbons. And you need some time and a lot of kuva to get those good rolls. And you also need the luck of getting a good weapon on top of that. So if you're a beginner or you're just decently into the game, you can follow their tips and it may help you. However, to get that much platinum, it's going to take a long time. So that's the expectation that they kind of set for you, which is unrealistic. That's the only problem I have with it. I focus on beginners. They focus on everyone. Doesn't matter what. Some videos are specific to beginners. However, they don't seem to be clear that for a beginner, someone who's watching this video because they don't know how to make plat, that's not realistic at all, and you won't get thousands of platinum. Next is something very simple, but very, very useful. This is, of course, syndicates. I'm talking about all of them. You have the basic 6 that will get you some weapons, with the melee weapons having a unique trait, as well as each having their own set of mods for frames. I talk about this a lot, so I'm going to move on to the other syndicates, which I will call by their location instead of the actual name, because I feel like you will understand it better that way. These syndicates being Cetus, Fortuna, Necrolisk, Chrysalith or Zeraman, and the Cavia, which is the place off of Necrolisk. The Cavia, which isn't the name of the place but the easier word for it, is very useful later on, with rank 5 allowing you to purchase an Archon Shard from standing. Each place has great rewards and items you will need. They will have frames, they will have amps for your Tenno, they will have arcanes and mods. They have a lot, which leads us to their bounties. This is another mistake beginners can make, since bounties give you a lot, especially for a beginner. Cetus and Fortuna are the easiest for beginners, the rest are much harder, so keep that in mind. But each place has their own set of bounties. All of them will give rewards like a frame or weapon part, Aya, relics, mods, endo, and credits. This is what everyone has in their bounties. Now other bounties, specifically the ones in Necrolisk, have great rewards. The vault runs in here can give you mods specific to the Necromech, as well as other mods that bounties don't have. You can get really good and unique mods here too. Basically, their bounties are on steroids when it comes to their reward pool. But remember, you have to get lucky. One thing every beginner should do as soon as they can is go to the recruiting tab and say you're new and looking for a clan. You should find a clan that is nice enough to have a new player join. They shouldn't care, but some clans may be picky. Once you join the clan and craft a clan key, you have access to a lot of blueprints for some great frames and weapons. You can get frames like Wukong, Neja, Volt, Banshee, Zephyr, Daggett, Ureli, as well as weapons like the Ignis Wraith, which is probably the most popular weapon in the clan. There is so much in the clan that I cannot possibly say all of them. There will be weapons good for you as a beginner and later on in the game. There are many labs that your clan should have, and they should have access to everything as well. This is also a place where you can trade or invite people to trade, as well as storing and customizing your railjack, which you will get later on. So join a clan and get access to a bunch of stuff that will help you along as you rank up. A clan is very helpful and something everyone needs to be in. As you're ranking up, you should be completing quests. You have to complete some quests to move on in Warframe, but every quest is useful. You either get a frame's blueprints or unlock something new in the game. Another thing is that Warframe has a great storyline, especially the earlier main story cinematic quests. They are longer and have a ton of detail in them. You have choices in many of them which can make you anxious on if you're doing the right thing, which I think is great for quests in video games, and it gives the player some responsibility and can really mess with them, wondering what they should do. Anywho, I could talk about how cool the quests are, especially the sacrifice, by far my favorite quest, but that can wait for another day. Maybe. Quests are important to complete, so make sure you're doing them. And if you cannot get past a point in the quest, remember to take a break and maybe start upgrading and getting better items. You may just need a break, but there are times where you will have a bad weapon or frame, which will make the quest less enjoyable sometimes. As we're moving on to the 9th mistake beginners make, I want to remind you to feel free to make comments or find me on any platform. I will respond to messages or comments if you are confused or need help. However, I will say that I can't actually play with you because I have to do a lot of stuff on my own time. Plus, I don't always want to play Warframe, believe it or not. I do like to do other things, but I post a lot on my Instagram and community page, so comments in those posts or on recent videos are best for me. And if you like my content and like what I'm doing, let me know. If there is something I should change or make improvements on, please let me know that as well. Now on to the 9th mistake beginners make, not building frames or weapons that they can make. When you unlock weapons, try them out. This can only make you master your rank up faster when you level them up and build them. You will run out of weapon and frame slots eventually. This is where, in my opinion, I would spend my platinum. Also, remember that if you have to sell a weapon, make sure it's the absolute worst weapon, that you can't mod it to be great, and that it's not a quest item. Quest items take longer to get them from blueprints in the clan or market. This is because you cannot simply replay the quest and get that blueprint again. You have to earn standing for Cephalon Samaris, which will take days to get. I would suggest holding off on selling frames. You can use the regular frames for the helmet once you get that. So making what you can to not only rank up fast, but to also try out each weapon is very good for beginners. Some weapons may not be the best, but eventually you'll have to use it in a specific build. Some weapons work well with specific builds on frames. These weapons may be ones you wouldn't get by just looking at the base stats. Finally, the last mistake for this video is beginners not modding correctly. When you're starting off, you will get common and normal mods. Normal as in it's for something basic, like an element or status, crit, and just plain old damage. When you get more mods, it's important to know which mods do what. Crit damage is very important, as well as damage. Multi-shot will also help with damage, which I'm showing now. There's also a system in which you will need to specifically order your elements in order to get a combined one that you want. If you want heat and viral, you need to make sure heat is the last mod of the 3. This goes with any other combination. It's better for beginners to do a basic damage mod than it would be for them to just add a slash mod. Stuff like this is something you will figure out more as you progress through Warframe. You will likely watch builds on specific frames and weapons in order to understand the process and how these people come up with these crazy builds. That ties in with the 9th mistake I talked about, in which they know what weapons and mods can do when tied to specific frames, as well as what frames can do to some weapons. But as a beginner, it's important to get as much as you can from your weapon. Having a mod on there for damage instead of specific status will work much better. Now that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed and found this one useful. I try my best to give good advice to those who are new to the game or to those who need a refresher on Warframe. Modding by far is the most confusing, where even I am finding out new ways to mod or how things work. I know I could say more about modding, but I feel like that would need its own video, just because of how complicated it can get. Plus, I feel like I need to get really good at it before I can make a video similar to those build videos. However, I do know the basics and what it does. If you want red, it's about the crit. If you want to do other needed and cool things, it's the elements. But you should have status and damage with crit in order to get those higher numbers. Again, if you are confused about something or think I can do better in some way, please let me know in the comments below. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
Get money,